All right, so get this. We're going deep today on a podcast called Oh, Nurturing Love. Your wife is a flower, not a pleasure dispenser.
Wow. Okay.
And it's from, get this, The Sunshine Inside. Now, I know the title might make you think it's all cheesy metaphors and all that,
Yeah.
but there's actually some good stuff in here, some real wisdom we can unpack.
Oh, I'm intrigued. The title certainly caught my eye. It's
It's bold.
bold is a good word.
But bold can be good. Sometimes you need that to shake things up.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes the less conventional approaches can, lead to some surprising insights.
That's what we're hoping for. So this one, it's got all this flower talk, sure,
Right.
but it's actually grounded in some pretty practical advice, and a lot of it comes from a biblical perspective.
Okay. So what's the main idea they're going for here?
So picture this. They're saying a wife is like a delicate flower,
Okay.
and to really thrive, it needs constant care and nurturing.
So it's less about what you expect from your partner and more about understanding their needs and creating the right environment.
Exactly. They even say, quote, if you plant understanding, gentleness, and respect, you'll have a garden that brings life and beauty.
Ooh, I like that. So it's about the environment you're creating
Yes.
through your actions.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about, we all have those deep needs, right? To feel loved, to feel valued, to be understood.
Absolutely.
And those aren't just, nice to have. Those are crucial.
Yeah, and this podcast is saying husbands have a big role in meeting those needs in the marriage.
Okay, I see where they're going.
It's not about those big gestures, those one-time things.
No, it's the everyday stuff.
The consistent actions, the everyday love and appreciation, that's what really matters.
Like tending a garden.
Exactly. You don't just water it once a month and expect it to flourish, right?
Exactly.
You've got to be in there, taking care of it.
Consistent care.
Consistent care. Now, I know some people might be thinking this is all a bit too, touchy-feely. But here's the thing. This podcast actually uses biblical principles to back up its advice.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
For example, they talk about the Garden of Eden
Okay.
and how God was, in a way, preparing Adam for marriage through gardening, teaching him responsibility and care before Eve even came along.
It's like connecting that act of nurturing a garden
Yeah.
with the responsibility of building a relationship.
That's their interpretation. It's about the husband actively creating that loving and supportive space.
I like it. Okay, so Garden of Eden, what else do they bring up?
Well, they also quote Ephesians 5.25,
Okay.
which talks about husbands loving their wives
Yeah.
like Christ loves the church.
Whoa, that's powerful imagery.
Right.
That's getting to the core of what they're saying.
And for anyone who might not be familiar with that verse, it's about a love that's unwavering, protective, and committed to the well-being of the other person.
It's not about control or demands.
No.
It's about creating that environment where your partner can actually thrive.
Exactly. It's a tough concept, sure, but it speaks to the transformative power of love.
Yeah.
When it's about selflessness, when you truly want what's best for the other person.
I like it. So we've got this garden metaphor, we've got the biblical stuff, but what about the nitty-gritty? What do they actually suggest husbands do?
That's what I'm excited to dig into. They have some really practical tips.
Okay, let's hear it. Okay, lay it on me. What kind of practical tips are we talking about?
Well, they have a bunch, and some might seem pretty basic at first,
Sure.
but I think there's a deeper meaning behind them. They talk a lot about surprise acts of love.
Okay, I like where this is going. Give me some examples.
Think little notes you leave for her,
Oh, that's sweet.
right? Or unexpected compliments.
I like it.
Or even just a quick text during the day just to say, hey, thinking of you.
It's those little things, right?
It's those little things that show you care, that
Yeah.
you're putting in the effort.
Yeah, it's it shows you're not just going through the motions.
Yeah.
You're actually thinking about your partner.
It's about being intentional, not just about the basic needs of the relationship,
It's going deeper, nurturing that emotional connection.
Yes. And another thing they talk about is really listening,
Okay.
showing genuine interest in her day, her thoughts, her worries.
Without trying to fix everything.
Oh, that's huge. So easy to fall into that trap, right?
It's like our default mode sometimes.
But sometimes she just needs to be heard.
Exactly, just to feel understood. And that's where respect comes in.
Yeah.
It's about valuing her perspective. Even if you don't get it or you disagree,
Even if you think you have the solution.
yeah, just listening and acknowledging, that builds trust.
Absolutely. They also touch on affection, but without expectations.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Like a hug is just a hug, not a bargaining chip.
Whoa, hold on. Let's unpack that.
Right.
Because that can be a tricky thing in relationships.
It can be.
Like recognizing that affection is about connection,
Yes.
not about what can I get out of this.
It's about giving, not getting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of that quote, I think it was Gary Chapman who said,
Oh, yeah.
physical touch is a powerful way to communicate love, but it must be given freely with no strings attached.
That's so good.
Because when we put conditions on affection, it creates pressure.
Resentment, too.
Yeah, not good. And speaking of giving, another tip they have is about serving your wife.
Ooh, tell me more.
And it doesn't have to be some big elaborate thing.
No.
It's the little stuff.
Yeah.
Doing the dishes, taking care of a chore she usually handles.
It's offering to help out,
Yeah.
being there.
And that shows you're paying attention
It does.
to her needs, to what she's going through.
It's showing love through action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all these tips, they point to this idea of a growth mindset,
Okay, growth mindset.
which is basically acknowledging that love isn't a finish line.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. It's ongoing. It takes effort. It takes a willingness to grow.
Individually and together.
Yeah. And just like with that garden analogy,
Okay.
sometimes growth comes with challenges.
Of course.
Weeds to pull, storms to weather, but it's that consistent care
Yeah.
that makes something beautiful grow.
They even talk about marriage being like a school
Oh, interesting.
with its own lessons and opportunities for growth.
I like that. So instead of seeing challenges as failures,
Right.
it's an opportunity to learn, to grow closer.
Exactly. So for our listener, the one who's been tending their own relationship garden,
Yeah.
what's the one thing they should take away from all this?
I think it's about changing our perspective, shifting from what do I get?
To what can I give?
Yes. It's about serving your partner, nurturing them with love and respect
It's realizing that even the small things, they have a huge impact.
on the health and happiness of the relationship.
It's not about hoping things will work out.
No, it's about making a conscious choice.
To be the best partner you can be,
You actively create that loving and supportive environment.
where you both can thrive.
And the cool thing is, it's not about being perfect. No, it's about showing up every day, being willing to learn and grow with your partner.
It's about embracing the journey.
The ups and downs
It's
along.
knowing that putting in the effort, that's how you get something beautiful and lasting.
Beautifully said.
So we've talked about a lot, from cheesy metaphors to, I don't know, profound biblical wisdom.
Yeah, it's been quite the deep dive.
It has. But before we wrap up, any final thoughts you want to leave our listener with? It really makes you think, about what we're actually cultivating in our own relationships.
Yeah, are we putting in the work? Or are we just, letting things go?
It's a choice we make every day, isn't it? And I think that's a good takeaway for anyone listening.
Absolutely. Whether you, buy into all the flower talk or not.
It's about those deeper principles, the love, the respect, the commitment.
The foundation of any strong relationship.
Exactly. So to everyone out there navigating their own relationship gardens,
It's a journey.
it is. And it takes time
Effort, too.
and a willingness to learn and grow.
And sometimes, it might even mean asking for help
Oh, that's a good point.
from someone you trust, a friend, a family member, maybe even a therapist.
It's okay to reach out.
You're not in this alone.
And just like a garden, with the right care,
And attention.
your relationship can become something truly amazing.
It can blossom.
It really can. Well, on that note, we'll leave you to think about those blooming gardens.
Tend to those gardens, folks.
And thanks for joining us on this deep dive.